Carlos Nelson with Cascade Sports. And boy, oh boy, people, we back in Cleveland. And we have one of the top Cleveland coaches here, Mr. Jeremy Holmes. How you doing today, Coach?
I'm doing phenomenal. Doing phenomenal. Thanks for asking.
All right. Hey, Coach, you know the drill. As I said off camera, let our audience know who you are. Let's go back to kindergarten.
Um, so if you take it back to kindergarten, grew up in the great city of Cleveland Heights. I'm actually a product of a mom and dad who also grew up in the city of Cleveland Heights. And my father was a real hooper. So whether I was in the gym or in the park since kindergarten, you know, it was watching him and his friends go from park to park and gym to gym, and just constantly, playing basketball. And so, growing up an only child, it was easy for me to go outside and just constantly be, working with that ball. And I think it was around kindergarten or so where, my dad had, taken me to the gym, but it didn't take long for the love to be within me. And so he never had to ask me, did I want to go? I was always ready. And when I went, I was off to the side. One, I would watch what they were doing. And when I saw something that I like or wanted to learn, I just went on the side and tried to emulate and, do those things myself. And so the love for the sport like grew so fast and I was so hungry for it. Like, I just wanted to be the best. And so for me, that continued on to.
What age were you at that time, Coach?
Um, I mean, I got pictures in the gym at 2, 3 years old,
Ooh.
but when I first started to like really, take it up on myself, I think I was like fourth grade. My godfather had gave me my first basketball. I never forget it.
And what's his name? My people don't know his name.
Yeah, so his name is Dwayne Posey. He passed away about a year ago. So may he rest in peace, man. But I'll never forget the Spalding, that first Spalding that he gave me. I dribbled that thing until the material came off of it. So, those balls go from leather to feeling like it's wool or something. And I got everything I can get out of that ball.
What position was you playing at that
time? So I always had a good handle on me. So, always been a point guard. I just see the game different, visualize it different, understand it different. But I could say this, I was a little taller than everybody when I was younger. So, sometimes I might not be the point guard, but my game was my game. So even if I was getting it off the glass and I was pushing it, I did things that a point guard did. So from the time I started to the time I ended, I've always been a point guard.
What high school did you go to?
The Cleveland Heights, the one and only on Cedar and Lee. I don't think it's another school in the country with the dynamics that our high school has, especially in our city.
So Kennedy and some of them, yeah, I know.
Hey, no diss when I shout out my high school and I give it the honor and praise that I give it is no disrespect to nobody else.
What did you do in high school? Talk about some of your accolades.
So what's crazy is where I grew up at, right? I could always like hear the track meets and hear the football games and I grew up in the community where our summer camp was hosted or provided by the high school. So you talking third, fourth grade, when you go to, summer league and summer play, it's ran by the high school coaches and the high school players. And so like I just always dreamed to be one of them. And those guys always, took us under their wing, and they encouraged us. They coached us well, and they led us up, to that point. Now, our city has always been known for having a lot of talent, but they didn't have the greatest of records, before I got there. And then my freshman year in 92, 93 was the first time we had been back downstate to the state Final Four since 1975. And so we went downstate my freshman year, my sophomore year, my junior year. My junior year, we lost in the state.
Do you remember who was some of them teams with you? Give them some props.
Some of the teams who we played against?
No, your teammates.
Oh yeah, I know all of them.
Yeah, I'm saying give them a shout out, baby boy.
Well, so I'm a start at the top. I played alongside a guy by the name of Damon Stringer, who arguably is the greatest player that the state of Ohio has ever seen. The first Mr. Basketball in Northeast Ohio. One of my best friends, and I literally just watched him destroy the city, the state, and the country on the AAU side. So I got to mention him first, but you're talking Theo Dixon, Division I. Mike Washington, Division II, Harold Rasul, Division I, Damien Ezell, Division I, Jamal Harris, Division I, Jeff Butchie Johnson, with the JUCO and play, Phil Lawson with him play, D3, Kevin Cox. I mean, the list is crazy. Allen. I'm sorry?
Who was your sixth man? Who was coming off the bench in that sixth slot?
So the sixth man my junior year when I started started us. So Phil Lawson was probably our sixth man. Phil Lawson, might have been Chris Lee. I think it kind of varied.
How far did you go in your junior year in the state?
My junior year, we lost in the state championship by 1 point in overtime.
All right.
We were 25-1 and they were 26-0. And they beat us by 1 in overtime. So I had a lot of success in high school. It's funny because I damn near averaged a double-double, with points and assists. I don't think nobody played the point guard better than me, but never was nominated for, Player of the Week in the newspaper. Wasn't all state, was all conference, but it was a all state guy within me. But I never played for the Accolades. So those things never bothered me. I know that I played on a team that was ranked number 1 in the state, we were ranked in the country, and all I cared about was winning. And at the end of the day, making the people who made it go, the faculty and staff at the school, the people in the community that supported us, as well as our classmates. So as long as they was happy, I was happy.
So tell me this, let's move up to college.
Okay.
Let's talk about where you went to school, and you played all 4 years?
I did.
Run it down.
I did. So when I left high school, I ended up having one questionable semester in my sophomore year, and it caused me not to be able to be eligible for a Division I or II scholarship, and so I took my talents to junior college. Shout out to Trey Kilpatrick, who, he went to Heights the year before I did, so he graduated a year earlier than me, but he was from Florida. And, he moved up here for his senior year. They wouldn't let him play, but he used to practice with us. And so he was around the neighborhood, hooping with us and stuff. And he ended up telling his junior college coach about me. And so, Coach Jeb Gill, he came to see me play. And, he liked me, fell in love with me. I went out and visited. I fell in love with the school. It's called Neosho County out in the great state of Kansas. So I was actually in Chinook, Kansas, which is about 2.5 hours from the airport in Kansas City. So really like the middle of nowhere. So I was
I know where it's at. You know, I'm out
yeah,
here in Missouri.
yeah,
This is what
yeah.
I
I know
want
you
you
out
to
there in
say.
Missouri, but I'm saying that for the people who don't know, because
Right.
if
Hey,
you don't know
Coach,
about it, don't know about it. You know what I'm
this is
saying?
what
It's
I
one of
want
those.
you to talk about real quick. Talking over you, I'm sorry. But while
No,
you're on that subject, talk to high school players about JUCO and Division One, because we interviewed so many players. A bunch of them went to JUCO, got
yeah,
they got their feet on the ground with their academics, and got their
yeah,
heads right, and was
yeah.
able to go and do big things in Division One. Talk about that.
Right. Well, I'm gonna say this, and this is always my shameless plug. I don't recommend JUCO for anybody, right? But here's why: you would rather have 4 years at a university than two, and that's just what I'm saying. That's just what it is. But I wouldn't change it. I was blessed, and I'm thankful for it. And so, back then we had an example out of Cleveland. We had Mike Parks, who went to Independence in Kansas, and then Ruben Patterson, who went to Independence, who actually was Junior College Player of the Year. And so with the success he had, it kind of lets you know that, you can go to JUCO and really have some success. And if you took care of your business, people across the country would know who you were. So I definitely thank him for paving the way for doing that. And then I had a couple of teammates of mine, Mike Washington and Harold Wasu, who went to Kobe, Kansas a couple years, before me. And so they kind of let me know that the dream was still possible, even though I would have to take the long way. And so I got out, to Neosho in '96, had just had a son. So I was going through that, trying to, put my mind in a place where I know that I'm going to do this to do something that's bigger than me. And so when you out there and you in the middle of nowhere, man, even though, you've heard of those success stories, it's hard because you're wondering, are people watching you? The best part about my junior college was my coach, bar none. I just spoke to him yesterday. His name is Jeff Gill, and he's put a number of people in Division One, Division Two, Division Three. Some have gone on to the NBA, man, and he was like a father away from home. We had curfew every single night. I was there for 2 years, and when you're going through that stuff, you kind of looking at it like, I've graduated from high school. I'm out my mom's house, but this man telling me I got to go to bed every night at a certain time. And so when you're going through it, it's rough, but when you come out on the other side, it was well worth it. And so I went to JUCO out there at Neosho, led the state of Kansas in assists both my years. Still got the school record out there, for most assists in the season. I believe that I do. We set a school record at 27-5. We won the Jayhawk Conference. We had multiple people go D1. When I left JUCO, I went to Pitt, so I was fortunate enough to play in the Big East. My other teammates went to Georgetown, Oklahoma, Jacksonville, Coastal Carolina, Georgia, and the list goes on. So,
King again. The cutoff king again. Listen, you hurt me when you said Big East, baby boy. I'm like, so you must have had a rough and ready type game.
Yeah. I always tell people, like, the Big East is the only conference in college basketball where they experimented with 6 fouls. And so, and I'm sure what you bring, what I'm saying, being the East Coast guy, you remember that. Like, what I'm saying, it was rough, man. But every single night, like, when I looked at our schedule, and you got Villanova, you got Providence, Georgetown, Miami, Syracuse, St. John's, UConn, West Virginia, Miami, like, I was like, wow, how does a kid who has never averaged 20 points a game, has never gotten all the accolades, how do I make it to this point? And like I'm saying, like you said in the beginning, it came from me having the right people around, pushing me, keeping me in line, me having a son, which made me work hard, and just being at the right place at the right time, man. I was blessed.
So how did you get into coaching? Let's start
Um,
out of college. Let's run that down.
okay, so I got out of college, I started working, and when you first get out of college and you still working or you start working, you still believe that you can make one more push at it. So I spent a couple years, trying to make one more push at it. And so my initial stint with coaching was, again, I told you I had a son at 18 years old when I was in high school. So by the time I graduated from college, my son was 4 or 5 years old, and now he was starting to, get into sports himself. And so his first league or whatever, I decided, I'm a coaching. And, I kind of took a liking to it. But I didn't like coaching him because I just wanted to be his dad. And maybe a few months later, um, my my high school coach called me and asked me if I wanted to coach the freshman team at my high school. And I had never coached before, but you know, I was honored that he would call me. And since that day that I said yes, I've been coaching ever since. And you talking about 20 years later, and I just enjoyed it because I didn't know that I knew more than the kids that I would be coaching knew, if that makes sense, right? Um, it wasn't until I got in the gym, we got in practice, and I told them to do things, and they didn't know what I was talking about, and they didn't know how to do it. So I was like, well, this thing is pretty cool that, I can impart knowledge on young people and they really take it, listen, and then they can get a result from it. So that's kind of where the fire grew, for me to want to continue to get better at
Talk
coaching.
about some of your accolades in coaching.
Um,
some of your milestones and some
right.
things that you are proud of. Also, some of the players that you've turned out of your shop.
Okay. So I'll say this: what I started noticing is that I had a few moments in my life where, um, I was with someone as an assistant in their first year, right? So I did that with a guy by the name of Babe Kwasniak, who coached over at St. Joe's, who, they got very, very rich tradition over there. So I was honored to be over there with him in his first year. He went on to win a few state championships. And I came back to Cleveland Heights, and I was with a coach named Andy Sattel for 4 years. I was there in his first year at Heights, and I learned a lot, from him as well. On my way out the door from Pitt, I was there in Ben Howland's first year at Pitt, and so those things to me were just signs that that I was just a person who could start to build foundation, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And so from there, man, I started coaching AAU. I actually have a 8th grade AAU championship, national championship under my belt. I've won the Buckeye Prep in Columbus, which is big time in Ohio. My first year as a high school head coach, I actually took the team to the state championship game, and we kind of lost on the technicality. In overtime, they called a technical foul on one of my kids for hanging on the rim, and I don't know if you saw it or not, but it was 2015, and it made every show on ESPN that there is. And so I consider myself a champion at the end of the day. And then just this past season, I was at Richmond Heights, and we won the Division 4 state championship. And so, and then last year we lost in the Final Four. So I've just always been around success and winning since I been involved with this game, and as long as I'm coaching, that's what I expect.
So, are y'all reloading this year, or are y'all looking for more talents? You know, when you go ahead.
No, and I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry. I was just gonna say, we always looking for new talent. That part will never stop. But we won with our two starting guards were freshmen, and so anytime you talk about tournament basketball, playoff basketball, most times teams only go as far as their guards lead them. And so to have strong guards, as long as you put the proper pieces around them, you always got a shot at winning.
You got to bring them on the show, Coach.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's special, man.
That's what's up. So, in closing, what would you want to say and impart to our audience?
Man, really, like I just always want people to know, for me personally, like I'm a basketball junkie. Like, live for the game, always studying the game, watching the game. And so I do it from a place of purity, a place of innocence, and just all love. And I think that our game has kind of gotten tainted because younger people think that there are ways around the process or ways to cut and cheat the process, or things just happen by happenstance, and they don't. Because the game of basketball is so popular, and everybody wants to do it for sometimes, the wrong reasons. Some people enjoy what comes with the game. And it's kind of a gift and a curse, right? Like, you can't cheat this game of basketball. You just can't, right? You have to put the work in. You have to be talented. You have to have a couple things to go your way. And you have to play the game the right way at the end of the day. And so those who do that reap benefits. Those who don't, they blame the game of basketball or the people who are around them within the game. And it's just such a beautiful game that can take you so many places and allow you to meet so many great people, that you have to do it the right way. And that's really all that I've tried to do all my life, because I would say 99.9% of the people that I know either came directly or indirectly from basketball. So I would never do anything to discredit the game itself. And so just having that love for it is the driving force behind all of it.
So what would you say to your Cleveland Heights fans this season? Getting them revved up there.
Well, they definitely have some talent coming back. They got a great, head coach in J.R. Bremer, who is, to me, he's the ultimate example of what a high school coach should be. He grew up in the neighborhood. He won a state championship in the same neighborhood. He played Division I, and he played for the Cavs, the team in his own city. And so not many people can say that. So they got the right person, giving back to the community. And one thing about
Austin Carr was my brother's. His brother was my roommate down at Central State University.
Okay.
He's still out there with the Cavs.
Austin Carr, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just saw him not too long ago, a couple months ago. He spoke at a guy by the name of Bob Nance's camp. And they real good friends. But yeah, he still does TV for the Cavs.
Yeah, these young boys don't know nothing about Austin, but back in his day, he upset UCLA, Kareem and them.
Yeah, my father, talked to me a lot about that. I don't really know him from, seeing him, but just being a student of the game, I definitely know the impact that he had at Notre Dame, correct?
Right, and do you know he was a dual athlete? He was a pitcher. They want Baseball wanted him.
Right.
Yeah. Hey, Coach, it was a plum-pleasing pleasure having you on this show.
Absolutely.
And we're looking forward to gearing up in Cleveland and really making some things happen this season. But as we always say in closing, Cascade Sports, we go hard in the paint. Good night.
This program is brought to you by the City of Fountains Coaches Association.